So this is part of the cost of creativity, you might say. It's kind of like a comedian getting up on the stage. That comedian is very funny. That comedian is funny because they're kind of dancing on the edge of what's appropriate, which is pretty common, right? Often the comedian will say pretty edgy things, and they're usually right on the edge of maybe offending somebody or maybe even crossing the line. And sometimes they do cross the line. Sometimes they say something that comes across anti-Semitic, or maybe it's racist, or maybe it's, one of the phobics, whatever it is, right? It just says something that goes against a group in society. And now some people will say the line has been crossed. But that's kind of the cost of comedy, right? Because a good comedian kind of has to be a little bit edgy, kind of has to be a little bit crazy. They have to dance right on that edge, right? I think that's true of any forms of creativity, right? If you're going to be a next painter, if you're going to be a writer, unless you're just going to do the usual run-of-the-mill stuff and kind of almost replicate the process from that maybe other people use, if you want to bypass boundaries, you have to exist on that edge of chaos a bit, right? Not too much, because your life will dissipate into nonsense, but you have to dance on that edge. It's the only way the boundaries get pushed. You have to take that risk. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to, and so forth. I think you get it, right? So it's the same with AI, right? In order for AI to be quote unquote human, or something akin to human, to speak the way that we speak, to create, to find connections and analogies and metaphor, to do what it must do to solve truly hard problems, right? Including maybe in medicine and maybe in government, then it has to be able to dance on that edge. That is the trade-off. So the question is, if we accept that that trade-off must exist because that's a fundamental pattern in the universe, there's no way around it, how can we still make sure that, at least to some extent, we can try to get a handle on these kind of runaway effects where all of a sudden Grok starts speaking in an anti-Semitic fashion, or, ChatGPT all of a sudden gets racist or something? What can we do to put things in place that act kind of like rules, but rules that don't interfere? Rules that don't interfere with the creativity that we need AI to have. And that's an ongoing question, and that's a really big challenge. And I want to put something forward as an example of how this might work based on what I think is a good scientific understanding of complexity and information. And I'll keep it pretty layman terms, so I won't get too deep to make sure we can all understand.